You approved a token once. That approval is still active. Right now. Here's what that means for your wallet. Think back to the last time you used a DeFi app, swapped a token, or minted an NFT. Before that transaction could go through, your wallet almost certainly popped up an approve request, and you clicked confirm without a second thought, because that's just what you do to make the app work. That approval didn't expire when the transaction finished. Most people assume an approval is like handing someone a single payment. It's not. It's closer to handing someone a signed blank check, and depending on how that approval was written, that check might not even have a dollar limit on it. Here's the technical distinction that almost nobody sees. When a smart contract asks to spend your tokens, it can request a capped amount, exactly enough to cover the transaction you're making. Or it can request an unlimited amount, permission to move every token of that type you'll ever hold, forever, until you manually revoke it. Most wallets don't make that difference obvious. The confirmation screen usually just says, approve, maybe with a number buried in the details that most people never expand. Developers default to unlimited because it means you won't get a repeat approval pop-up next time you use the app, which is smoother for them and worse security for you. It's a convenience trade-off that gets made on your behalf, without asking. That's already a real exposure, but here's the part that surprises even experienced users. A wallet drainer doesn't need you to sign anything new to steal from an old unlimited approval. If that contract you approved months or years ago gets compromised, or was malicious from day one and just sat dormant, the attacker can call it directly and pull your tokens without any new prompt appearing on your screen. That's what makes old approvals genuinely dangerous. You could do everything right today and still lose funds because of a signature you gave a project that got hacked 18 months later. The approval is the standing risk, and the hack timing is completely out of your hands. You don't have to take my word for how real this is. Earlier this year, a compromised cross-chain bridge protocol led to roughly $292 million drained from users, and within hours, drainer operators were registering lookalike Revoke websites, exploiting the exact panic and confusion around real approvals to trick people into signing away even more. That's the pattern worth remembering. The exploit itself often isn't the only danger. The scramble afterward, when everyone's told to revoke now, creates a second wave of phishing aimed at people who are already anxious and moving fast. There's a newer wrinkle worth understanding too. Permit 2 signatures. Instead of an on-chain approval transaction, some apps now use an off-chain signed message, the kind that looks like sign this message, rather than confirm this transaction, to grant that same kind of spending permission. No gas fee, no blockchain record until it's actually used, and a single permit 2 signature can authorize your entire balance of a token in one shot. It's efficient for legitimate apps, and it's just as efficient for an attacker who gets you to sign the wrong message. That matters because it's shifted where the danger sits. A malicious site can present what looks like a routine sign-in or verification prompt, and it's actually a permit 2 authorization handing over your funds. Security researchers tracked a 207% rise in this kind of signature-based approval phishing earlier this year alone. So the lesson isn't avoid permit 2, since plenty of legitimate apps use it responsibly. The lesson is that a sign this message prompt deserves exactly as much scrutiny as an on-chain approval, not less, because a lot of users currently treat it as the safer, lower stakes option. All right, let's fix what's already out there. Head to Revoke.cash and connect the wallet you want to audit, the same way you'd connect to any DeFi app. It's read-only until you explicitly choose to revoke something, so connecting alone doesn't put you at risk. You'll see a list of every contract that currently holds an approval on your tokens, organized by chain. Pay attention to 2 things: which approvals are marked unlimited, and which contracts you don't recognize at all, since a forgotten mint from a dead project 2 years ago is exactly the dormant risk we just talked about. For anything unlimited, especially tied to an app you don't actively use anymore, click Revoke and confirm the transaction in your wallet. This costs a small gas fee, since revoking is itself an on-chain transaction, but it permanently kills that standing permission until you approve that contract again. Work through the list chain by chain if you hold assets on more than one network, since approvals on Ethereum mainnet, Arbitrum, Base, and others are all tracked separately. A clean audit on one chain says nothing about your exposure on the rest. If you'd rather stay inside a tool you already trust, Etherscan's token approval checker does the same core job. Search your wallet address or connect directly, and it'll show you the same approval list with an amount at risk figure calculated against your current holdings, which makes the exposure easier to visualize than a raw allowance number. Either tool works, and using both occasionally isn't a bad habit, since they sometimes surface approvals slightly differently depending on how a contract encoded the permission. The goal isn't picking the perfect tool, it's actually doing the audit, since an unused tool protects nobody. Now, how do you avoid creating new risky approvals going forward? At the signing moment, look at what's actually being requested. A legitimate approval from a reputable protocol will typically request a capped amount matching your transaction, or clearly disclose that it's unlimited with a reason tied to how the app functions. A malicious request often asks for unlimited access when the transaction you're doing doesn't justify it. Arrives from a site you reached through an unsolicited link, or a claim your airdrop prompt, or shows up as a plain signature request when you expected a transaction confirmation. That mismatch between what you're doing and what's being asked for is the tell. This connects directly to blind signing, which I covered in a dedicated video on this channel. The core lesson is the same. If your wallet shows you raw hexadecimal data instead of a readable summary of what you're approving, stop and don't sign it, because you cannot verify what you're authorizing if you can't read it. It also connects to hardware wallet habits, which I touched on in an earlier short. A hardware wallet protects your private key from ever leaving the device, but it does not protect you from approving something malicious, because you still have to physically confirm the transaction on the device screen. Read what's on that screen every time. Here's your actual takeaway, not theory. This is a maintenance task, the same category as changing a smoke detector battery, not a one-time fix. Go run a Revoke audit today on your main wallet, right after this video, before you do anything else with it. Then set a recurring calendar reminder, once a quarter, to run the same check again. New apps you try, tokens you claim, and NFTs you mint all create new approvals over time, and the whole point of a quarterly audit is catching the ones you've forgotten about before a compromised contract catches them for you. If you found an old unlimited approval you didn't remember granting, you're not alone, and you're also not done. That's exactly what this quarterly habit is for. Check out the blind signing video next if you haven't seen it, since these two risks compound each other. If this walkthrough saved you from a standing risk you didn't know you had, subscribe. That's exactly the kind of practical, no-fear crypto security this channel is built around. Drop a comment with how many approvals Revoke.cash found on your wallet. I'm curious what the average turns out to be. Thanks for watching. Stay secure out there.